Okay, so this is my video of the review after having this wheel for a couple of weeks now. I thought I'll give the review of the TX Thrustmaster Leather Edition wheel, and I can honestly tell you, this wheel 100% worth it. For the amount of money you pay for it, yeah, it's expensive as a mid-tier wheel compared to your TMX Pros and your Logitechs and stuff like that. But it has a lot more versatility than the other two, particularly if you want to do other sims besides your racing. For example, Farming Simulator is a really good one. So Farming Simulator 17 has force feedback, where 19 doesn't. I don't know why that is the case, but it's really kind of stupid. Alright, so... Right. Force feedback in this is very limited though, like, you don't feel the bumps and stuff like that in it at all, just drives. But I wanted to see what the wheel performed like, especially having the full, oh look at that, that's good. You can see what the wheel is doing, and it's dead on, like, that is exactly what the wheel is doing in my hands. Farming Simulator, because there's very little force feedback in FS17, there's force feedback, there's very little. You don't really want like something like a Logitech that's very clunky with its gear ratio settings and stuff like that. And then you've got your TMX Pro, which is a little bit better. It's a little bit more smoother, less jiggity apparently. I haven't owned it, but Spliffy has one and he swears by it. So, you know, I honestly think due to this style of it, I don't think a farming sim would be really useful for it. But for things like this, those entry levels, there's nothing wrong with them. However, if you want to look at making it more of a passion project and you want to kick yourself out at sea and do all the accessories, the TX, you can't go wrong with it. It is the hub that allows you to do all of that. You can't do that with, say, the TMX Pro. The TMX Pro doesn't allow you to add the handbrake to it, unlike the TX does. You have to take it apart and solder it and do all this other stuff. But you can add the handbrake, you can add the gear stick to it still, but you just can't do the handbrake, which kind of sucks. But you're also stuck as well with the main plastic wheel that the TMX Pro comes with, and not the TX, which comes with interchangeable wheels, which the interchanging system works well. At first I was a bit sort of hesitant about it, due to the nature of the way it hooks on. However, I just found that I got over my fears, and it's robust and it takes a beating, considering how strong force feedback gets, which this wheel has very good force feedback and strength. It is crazy how strong it can get. So I'm pretty happy with that. Something's out the radios. Anyway, there we go. So, force feedback is a strong point in this wheel. It's buttery smooth, you can feel everything, even as I'm driving now. I can feel the snow underneath the wheels of my car. I can feel it. And I know that there's very little traction in this car, you know, like around the corner like that, and I can feel the sliding, you know, and I can feel losing control relatively well. Not as well as other games, but that's not the wheel's fault, that's just the way the game works, that's all. But yeah. The foot pedals are great, there's nothing wrong with it. People complain about the plastic on them, and to be honest, there's nothing wrong with plastic. ABS plastic is pretty strong these days. I mean, they use it in guns, they use it in lots of different things. It's durable, it does last a lot longer than the older plastics used to, like on the old steering wheels and crap, or even the old joysticks that I had one explode under my hand. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I do love the metal construction of the wheel though. I love the metal paddle shifters that are even on the TMX Pro, and the buttons are perfect. They feel so high quality, and there's a distinct button pressing when you hit them. You don't get any issues. There's no rubbling. There's no play in them whatsoever. Yeah, it's pretty good. The construction of the wheel base is fine. The clamp works really well. I mean, it throws my whole table around, so it definitely works well. I mean, it hasn't come loose after all that. The putting together was a bit sort of straightforward. There was a couple of times where I was a bit sort of, hey, what's going on? Especially when I first got it hooked up to the Xbox, I thought that my wheel was broken. It turned out it was just I didn't have the connection in properly. I haven't had that issue since. And I honestly think the reason why that happened was because as I was clamping it down, because I had the power button in before I started clamping, which I advise this as a tip. Let's go here. I must have pulled it out. So due to that, I thought the wheel was broken, but that's the case. So what else am I missing? There was a bit of a scratch on the Thrustmaster emblem when I got it in shipping, but that's not a real issue. That's just a shipping things. Shipping companies these days have absolutely no respect for anyone's belongings, and it's kind of sad, really, that it's come to that these days. But it is what it is. But I don't notice it now. I don't really care for that. The little dial button on the bottom right hand corner that clicks to and from, that does all, like that. That's pretty cool. It's really handy on
Here we
PC.
go. House.
So the overall construction of everything, pretty much what I've briefly touched on, it's great. There's nothing really wrong with it. I can't see this wheel breaking anytime soon. I know some people have had issues with the TX wheels in the past, but I think they've nutted all those main issues out now. So I do think that it's not going to be a problem for much longer. Well, it isn't a problem for me at the moment. But I think the number one problem that people do though with these wheels is they have the force feedback and everything up high. And that's another thing I'd like to touch on. When you're struggling with wheels and trying to get the force feedback correct and all those sorts of very finicky controls, the best thing to do is have everything at default and go from there. See what the default is and just go from there. Don't upscale everything. Don't put this up to 100 and burn out the motor. Just don't do it. It's just really stupid, and I don't understand why people need to have it at 100%. Because when I was looking for people's lists, this car's really hard to control on the side, so it's just really fun. When I look at people's lists and they have the list of their settings, I see their force feedback is like max, and I just don't understand why you would need to do that. And it's just silly to me, that's all. But yeah. So you can see the self-centering of this wheel is also really good. Touch on the force feedback. That is one thing I do recommend to increase slightly. But you don't need to increase it much. Increase it a couple of percentage. That's what you really need to do. And then that way you can bring it back to your center and you can self-align by just accelerating, just like you would in the car scenario. Which is so much better that you can do that with this wheel. Sliding around real life. I sit on a computing table, so it's like that. Go first out. Go climb up and down. What else do I need to talk on? Talk about hardware. So, there is one thing that I have been struggling with. See, I predominantly play Xbox. That's the reason why I got the TX, because I play on Xbox predominantly. So I wanted something that can play on PC. Oh, so I wanted to get something that can play on PC as well as Xbox, so that's why I got the TX. Now, when I plugged it on PlayStation, PC, I had an issue with the firmware, and I still have an issue with it. I haven't been able to get the firmware to open. I have it, I've downloaded it, the correct firmware, but it won't download. The wheel works though, so the firmware is activated at least, but I don't understand why I can't open up the controls and then open the controls and adjust the force feedback in the Thrustmaster settings. So I haven't figured that out yet. I'll probably post an online thing on how to get that, how I got it to work in the end. But at this stage I still haven't been able to get it to work, and I don't know why it's... Oh, that must be an actual physical barrier. Okay, that's right. So, that is my main issue, I do find. And eventually I will solve it. I tried searching for it, I just can't seem to get it open. I don't know why, but that's a PC thing, not a Thrustmaster thing. My PC is old and plays up like no tomorrow. So, that's that. Overheating, I haven't had this overheat on me yet. I've heard some people say that they do overheat, but I honestly think, like what I said originally before, they've got their force feedback on maximum, and that's why it's overheating. I literally live in a shed, and it gets pretty warm in here, but I haven't had an overheating issue, and I've been using this wheel on, you know, quite warm days. You know, it's been like 30 degrees outside, and it's even hotter in here. Don't know how hot, I don't want to know, to be honest. But I haven't had it overheat, even when I've been playing for 4 hours straight. So that's not going to be an issue for you at all. Now, the most important thing are the games. The games you want to play with wheels can really influence the quality of your experience. Now, I did the hard option and went straight to Forza Horizon 4, and I think it really kind of hindered my thoughts on racing with a wheel versus controller, and I proved it many times, even on the stream, where I beat, you know, I was struggling to win, and I just kept sliding out with the ultimate challenge, and then I changed to the controller and I won the first go. So this game is designed specifically for controllers, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it still works with the wheel without any issues. There is a bit of a dead zone like I'm playing here. It doesn't show, it shows the animation of me wiggling, but like the tyres aren't moving really, so there is a bit of a dead zone. You can fix that, I suppose. I've tried to fix it, it doesn't really work that well. That's okay. It's not the be all end all, like you can adjust to it. But I think your best option, if you want a good experience, go for your proper sim racing games designed specifically with wheels in mind. For example, Project Cars comes into mind, which I haven't played yet with the wheel because Xbox for some reason removed it from me and I can't get it back. Kind of sucks. I don't know why they did that. Forza Motorsports 7 works really well. How do I... That's better. Wow, this game handles a lot better in both the Horizons. And the force feedback, the lack of dead zones, the full geometry of the wheel handling. Not as smooth as Formula 1. Better than Dirt 5 by far. But yeah, it handles really well. I can feel everything in this like I did in the others. This is great. I mean, the wheel's orientation in the picture is exactly to mine in IRL. Picks it all up. These magnetic sensors are hella what was the magnetic sensors that basically pick up your wheel's orientation. They work like a charm. They're so precise. You can really notice it in this game and in F1. More so in this one because you get the full 900-degree rotation feeling. Not that you ever need to use 900 degrees rotation unless you're doing drifting. But no, it's really, really good. Formula 1 was even better. Alright, so... Wow. Wow, it's like butter. Wow, this game is completely different to the other two. The way it works. Yeah, it's like a knot higher. Just the overall feel of driving with the wheel performed excellently. It did exactly as it was supposed to do in all games. Farming Simulator, it performed really well as well. FS19 is a bit buggy with its wheels. They fucked it up, and it annoys me that they fucked it up because FS17 is so fun. I love Farming Simulator, so it was good. FS19 is good, but they fucked it up. I mean, how can you go worse from a game that was original and not have any support for a wheel? Like, it's just, I'm dumbfounded with that one, but it still works on it though. And the reason why I think it works on it is because it is belt privileged and it's smooth, there's no flankiness, it works. You just sort of have to pretend you're in a tractor and check it. Dirt 5, that game sucks. Well, the steering is a lot heavier, but it's quite responsive. Wow. Very heavy. Kind of shit actually. Compared to the other games. was easy, but yeah, not a fan. I'm going to outright say I do not like that game. I only played a little bit and I think it's shit. The force feedback was nice and firm. It had a massive dead zone, which I didn't like about it. That could be adjusted in settings. Again, it's not a real issue, it's a game issue. Forza Horizon 3 was quite surprisingly surprising how well that was different. That was night and day compared to Horizon 4 in the way it reacts with the wheel. The settings, the force feedback was a lot lighter, but yet it gave a little bit more in-depth input.
About brakes?
We're taking the Great Ocean Road to Byron. Just please, don't do anything stupid.
It's cool. Look at this trophy truck. I'm just having fun. I'm not actually really like trying too hard. I just want to get a feel for the overall driving of the game. The wheels are doing exactly what it's supposed to though. I can feel the force feedback doing its thing. It's not bad. Oh, this is sick. There's a cave in New South Wales, just outside the Blue Mountains like this that you drive through, it's road to it. Although it doesn't have the cave and then the beach on the other side. That is pretty spectacular. I don't know what that is. Find out what that is. I've not been there. Is that a Land Rover? Oh no, it's a Range Rover. It's fun. I don't want to rewind because I hit him. Yeah, this game just handles so much better. I can feel every bump in the sand, and it feels like I actually have power steering instead of like no steering at all. I go to a certain point, the wheel responds with it. For example, like I'm driving on the snow now, and I can feel that it, I feel it's loose, but the wheel doesn't actually get loose. It doesn't feel crazy that I've lost traction. But yet I was doing this on the beach in Forza Horizon 3, and I could feel loose. It felt like I had no traction, I had no steering whatsoever. And it was good. So, if you want to play an arcade game with the TX wheel, I suggest Horizon 3 is a great option, the Australian edition. It's a good arcade, it's fun, you can do some crazy things, just like you can on all the Horizons, but I think it's a more refined and perfected Horizon game. Horizon 4, I think they kind of missed the mark on the wheel support. It's a good game, it's fun. I have a lot of fun with Spliffy, I have a lot of fun racing, I have a lot of fun with my screamer as I'm driving right now, going 200 kilometers per hour. It's just super fun. Special tool. So fun. So, they're the games that I suggest to get for this build, and I think those games you would enjoy. You would still enjoy Forza Horizon 4, but I just think that you'll hit a brick road like I did at the start and really struggle. But due to the force feedback strength, it took me a long time to get used to it, and it isn't easy getting used to these wheels at all. Even Spliffy said that he had a big learning curve. But I think he mastered a lot faster than me due to his ability to adapt faster than me. But also I think the force feedback of the TX Pro was very different from the TX. And I think that helped him a lot as well, because he didn't have to worry. And also his setup will probably be better than mine too as well. My setup is a little bit sort of budget build, sort of, it's what I can do. I can't really do much. I don't have space in here. I've got a big ass snake tank right next to my TV, and yeah, I just don't have the room to have a full setup. So then I do lose out on that experience to get that 100% sort of accuracy in my driving. But that's fine. You know, you do what you do and you just have fun with it. So overall, I would probably give this wheel, in my opinion, I would give this wheel a solid 8 out of 10. And the only reason why I would give it an 8 out of 10 or not a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 is I don't really know the market that well. So I think a direct drive, like, you know, your CSLs and stuff like that, you get your CSL phonetic and phonetic steering in general direct drives, I think they're going to be the 9 to 10 out of 10 wheels. But I've never used one, so I don't have an opinion on them, and I've never used a TMX Pro or the Logitech, so I think 8. You know, my satisfaction is a solid 8. Like, I'm really, really happy. There's nothing that's pissed me off about the wheel at all. I've just been more frustrated with the games than anything, and I think that's really the element that affects everything. So, yeah. I think you should buy one if you're getting into sim racing. I think it's an experience like none other. If you don't have the money for the mid-tiers, go for the low tiers. There's nothing wrong with that. Go for Logitech, go for TMX Pro. I prefer TMX Pro over Logitech though, due to the combination of belt end pods, but yeah, I think you should do it. I think it's fun. I hope you enjoyed this video at the end of it. I hope you thought some ideas. If you have any questions, you know, put a comment down below, ask about